Victim of your own success is a term you've probably heard before, and you might not have much sympathy for it. Because after all, if you have success and money, it's much easier to solve your problems. But if this definition can be applied to one person who actually didn't ask for it, it would be Dong Nguyen, the creator of Flappy Bird. This Vietnamese developer created a flash viral hit where millions of people were obsessed, and he was making almost $100,000 per day. The crazy part is, he deleted the game entirely right at the peak, saying that it, quote, ruined his life.
Hi, all fellow Flappy Bird users. My name is Dong Nguyen. Today I would like to announce that I will be shutting down Flappy Birds for good.
So what exactly led him to this breaking point? To remove one of the most successful games ever created from the App Store entirely, rather than selling it or keeping it running? In this video, we're gonna dive into Dong Nguyen's backstory, whether it was luck or skill, so you can know if you can reverse engineer this success, that is, if you want it, and finally, what led Nguyen to his breaking point. Let's dive in. Who is Dong Nguyen? Well, he was born in North Vietnam, just outside of Hanoi, to a humble family. His father ran a hardware store and his mother was a government employee. And he first fell in love with gaming when one day his father gifted him a cloned or bootleg Nintendo game. Like many kids, his interest in video games flourished over time, and this led to a passion for actually creating the games, programming, designing, and developing. As early as 16, according to Rolling Stone, he learned to code his own computer chess game, and 3 years later he was studying computer science in Hanoi, capital of Vietnam, where he placed in the top 20 of a programming competition, which landed him an internship with one of Hanoi's only game companies at the time, Punch Entertainment. Now, Punch Entertainment, it made cell phone games, which Flappy Bird would later be. And Nguyen's former boss, Son Bui Trong, and said that Nguyen really stood out and was naturally talented for his speed, skills, and streak of independence. It didn't take long for Nguyen to be bored of developing games for this company, so he founded his own company called Dot Gears. This led to him focusing during weekdays on his full-time job, and during weekends and holidays he'd write his own games. By the time he was 28, he'd been programming for over 10 years and wanted to design a simple yet challenging game inspired by Nintendo. One look at Flappy Bird and you can see the inspiration with the green pipes and the art style being very reminiscent of Mario. The main character, of course, being the Flappy Bird, a bug-eyed, big-lipped, bloated bird that naturally flaps its wings every time you tap the screen in a pretty awkward fashion. The game had an 8-bit art style and was a side-scroller where you navigated through a series of pipes. And from the outside, it seems too simple to be a smash hit, but the details here matter. Because of the touchy controls and merciless gravity mechanics, this game was deceivingly extremely difficult. This led to a gaming experience that very few people would classify as fun. Flappy Bird would evoke feelings of frustration, had its own weird kind of sadistic pleasure that made the game super addictive, thinking you'd just get the high score if you played one more game. As Esquire said, Flappy Bird has a habit-forming quality that's hard to explain, but for some reason that doesn't stop us going back from another hit or 2 or 12. In addition to that, the game was egregiously ripping off Mario assets, with the green pipes being the most obvious, as well as the clouds in the background. Once the game gained steam, these small things would face massive scrutiny, but the day that Nguyen launched the game on the iOS App Store for free, well, initially there wasn't much traction. Naturally, the iOS game store is super competitive, but over time the cream rises to the top. And gradually, the game started capturing attention without any marketing. Nguyen is quoted as saying that it took 8 months for the game to receive any meaningful amount of attention, and it started to go viral when users took to Twitter to post their high scores. Then by February, it was topping the charts in more than 100 countries and was even dominating the Google Play Store too. Flappy Bird was soon downloaded more than 50 million times on the App Store alone, and Nguyen was making $50,000 every single day with simple banner ads inside of the game. Naturally, with this international success, he became quite a celebrity, with paparazzi following him and bothering him for photos and interviews. And he was not the type of personality to like this attention, which weighed him down and engulfed him with anxiety. So over time, it all became too much, and in 2014, he announced that he was killing Flappy Bird. Nguyen, he gave his own reasons for why. First, he said he didn't mean for the game to be so addictive. He received numerous comments on the Google Play Store about how the game was slowly consuming and ruining their life. You'll find yourself waking up early to play this wretched game. You need no friends or family as now you have the bird. Now, these reviewers also gave the game 5 stars, so they were most likely joke reviews. But parents were also getting upset because their children were getting so addicted. He was also getting large accusations hurled at him for being a fraud, a con man, and a thief. with bloggers and news outlets accusing him of stealing art from other games, specifically breaching Nintendo's copyright, with Kotaku tweeting that Flappy Bird's making $50,000 a day with ripped off art. And on Twitter, Dong didn't hide that he did this. He said he didn't directly steal something. There's an art to doing that. But what exactly did Nintendo say about this? Well, apparently it denied its hand in the removal of Flappy Bird from the iPhone and Android app stores. A spokesperson said to the Wall Street Journal that they didn't complain at all about Flappy Bird's similarities to Mario Brothers. The fact is, Flappy Bird was shut down, and after taking down the game, Nguyen disappeared. He definitely made enough to retire, especially in Vietnam, where he's still apparently living a low-key life and hiding from the paparazzi. But what do you think? Does Nguyen deserve this criticism for copying some green pipes and making a game that was a victim of its own success? Honestly, it's hard not to feel bad for the guy because he felt a personal responsibility to releasing such an addictive and frustrating game to the public. And if that wasn't the real reason, well, he just would have sold it if it was a case of being too stressed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this full backstory. If you didn't already know it, subscribe for some more tech stories. Talk to you soon.